being an 80s kid, you had to search for things. It's just the way it was. And being a kid that played Dungeons and Dragons and was into comic books and what have you. I mean, some of these things sort of rolled into each other, but also it was a heyday for metal on a broader scale. And so I seeing this kid that I grew up with who was older than me with an Iron Maiden Killers album shirt and being like, what the fuck is that? I don't know what that is, but that looks like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Or like him handing down to me his Damage Incorporated, his Killing Is My Business, or it was the what is it? Honesty Is My Only Excuse shirt, that Metallica one with the skull with the cross with like the clubs going through the broken skull for that that Master of Puppets tour. Yeah, having a real one of those as a kid until I outgrew it and it turned to dust. But these things were backed with all the fantasy elements of comic books and Dungeons and Dragons and all this kind of stuff. It all sort of melded into it. Plus, I just feel like part of my nature. So first time I saw a Bolt Thrower album cover, I was like, that's Warhammer 40K. I don't know what this is, but it can't suck. So it's Warhammer. Like I'm gonna buy it. And then hearing this different, hearing death metal and being like, whoa, okay, this thing is heavier than anything I've ever heard before. Incredible. Or even with MTV, the first time I ever saw the video for Dead Embryonic Cells, like, what's this? I want to go down this pathway. And then you soon enough, not only do you have Arise, but then you buy Beneath the Remains too.
So yeah, this is a lifelong passion, you would say.
Yeah,
this isn't...
and that's like a very old school way of discovering music, or like even just like reading ads in the back of like Metal Edge magazine, and especially for like the more like bands like outside of the US, just kind of ordering something because the cover looked cool, and then getting in, you're like, whoa, this is Vomitory, and they're from Poland, or
yeah.
the Yattering from Poland. Like, how do you find bands like that? You just have to kind of take a chance, and if the cover's cool, you just get it. And then
there used to be this advertisement, or there's probably a couple, but there would be these ads, these big full-page ads in the back of those magazines where it was for T-shirts, right? And so you'd see all these different band merch stuff. I had no idea who Venom was before I knew what their shirts looked like. You know what I mean? And so then it's like, oh, that's that thing that I've seen in the back of the magazine, or, I don't know what this is, but that looks cool as shit. So I'm going to track it down and see if I can find someone who has it, so then I could listen to it and figure out what it is. Yeah, it was, you had to want it, right? You had to let your curiosity lead you down that path, and you could just find all kinds of really interesting, weird things. And I remember having a bit of that feeling being at Death Fest the few times that I've been there, and just being in some distro's little booth and just peeling through stuff. I mean, I found I would find like odd records and stuff like that and buy them, bring them back for a buddy of mine, because I refuse to have vinyl, because I've already got too many problems in my life and too many things that I collect and keep with me, that having a vinyl collection is not something I'm trying to have.
Yeah, and even in Maryland Death Fest, just seeing, like, walking into like the third stage room and seeing, it's like, what is this artist? You could discover 20 bands just from the performances there as well.
Yeah, that's how I became familiar with Kill the Client when they were still around, and then getting introduced to all kinds of other new bands.
Now, let me ask, so with the metal, we were talking about bringing together the metal world and the wrestling world. If you could recruit a metal musician, assuming they had the training, to perform in Bloodsport, who do you think would make the transition well? Who looks the part, let's say?
That's a good question. So many responses. Well, Daniel from Marduk could probably do it, but then he actually is already trained. Like, the guy has a martial arts background from doing Sanda, which is a style of kickboxing. Well, technically it's a kung fu competition, but it's a style of kickboxing with throws. So he can already compete, and he looks scary as shit. So I mean, I suppose that Johan Hegg from Amon Amarth, a big Viking. Of course, now
Absolutely.
that's just me picking 2 Swedes. So that seems like I should probably go outside of that.
I feel like you and Johan could make like a
Crowbar.
sweet tag team. Sorry, what did you say, Noah?
Matt from Crowbar, he trains jujitsu.
See, there you go. Champ Morgan from Kill the Client. He trains jiu-jitsu and catch wrestling and sambo sometimes. Matt Heafy from Trivium is a jiu-jitsu. Oh, okay. So how about Kerry King? Now, see, now we're not picking anybody that trains jiu-jitsu or anything like that, but he definitely
Just on look alone.
Yes, exactly.